So talking about limits now, this here is the notation for limits, okay? And it is going to read as the limit of f of x as x approaches, and then blank, there will be some number there, is equal to blank. Okay, and I was missing this equal sign here. So it's the limit of f of x as x approaches, and then some value is equal to some value. So we could say, limit of f of x as x approaches 4 is equal to 5. Okay, so what is this really telling us, though? Basically, what this is saying is as my x value gets closer and closer to 4, so as x goes to 4, it's telling me that my y value is going towards 5. My y value is going towards 5, or my f of x value, right? Y, f of x, interchangeable. So as x goes to 4, y goes to 5. And then I'm going to add in a quick thing. I'm going to put a negative sign up here in, you could think of it as the exponent. What this negative means is from the left side. So sometimes we have different limits as we come from the left side versus when we come from the right side. So the negative sign means from the left, right? Because if you think on a number line, well, where's the left? Or where are my x values negative? Right, it's all the way to the left. Okay, and then on the other side, if this was a positive right here, this would mean from the right side. Okay, because where are my x values more positive? The further you go to the right. Okay, so as x goes to 4, my y value goes towards 5. All right, let's take a look at this graphically. Okay, I have an example exploring these limits graphically now. All right, where did that just go? I want this. Here we go. All right, so let's answer a few questions about this. I want to say, well, what's the limit of f of x as x approaches 2 from the left? What's the limit of f of x as x approaches 2 from the right? What's the limit? Let's do a couple more. Limit of f of x as x approaches negative 2 from the left. All right, let's start with these. So as x approaches 2 from the left, well, where does x equal 2, right? Right here is the point 2 comma 0. So this vertical line is x equals 2. Where do you go? This vertical line is x equals 2. Okay, so as we approach that value, right, and in this case we are wondering, as we approach that value from the left, right, as we approach that x value, what y value am I approaching? Well, we really only have two options, right? We could be approaching this point here or this point down here. Okay, so the question is, well, which one is it? So because we have that negative sign, it's telling us, well, you're approaching it from the left. So looking to the left of this line, well, that's over here, right? This is to the left. So coming from the left, yes, we go to the right to get to 2, but we're coming from the left. We approach a y value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so as we approach 2 from the left, my y value approaches 5. And now from the right side, right, as I come from the right side, well, this is the line that's just to the right. I'm approaching this value here, and this has a y value of 1. Okay, negative 2 from the left. Well, where does x equal negative 2? Well, it's either going to be this point or this point, right? One of those 2 points that falls on it. Which one is coming from the left? Well, this line comes from the left to get to here. and that gives me a y value of negative 2. Let's do a couple more. Limit of f of x as x approaches negative 2 from the right. We're approaching this value here. That's a positive 2. Limit of f of x as x approaches infinity. Okay, this one's a little bit different, right? As x approaches infinity, well, let's take a look. Infinity is all the way over to the right, right? That would be x equals infinity all the way over there. We're concerned with, well, where would my y value be? Well, if we look at this arrow, as we go to the right, my arrow is pointed down, so I'm going towards negative infinity. Okay, so as my x value approaches positive infinity, my y value approaches negative infinity. And then the last limit, I'm doing it up in this top left corner, limit of f of x as x approaches a negative infinity. Well, x approaches negative infinity is all the way to the left, right? So, well, this arrow is pointed to the left, and it's also pointed up, so we are going towards a positive infinity there. Okay, so this is just exploring limits graphically and just being able to read, right? Where is x equals to 2? Usually there could only be one of two answers, maybe even just one answer, and then it's pretty obvious. Okay, if it doesn't specify, like if it just says limit, and let's say I have this point, right here, we'll call that negative 3, negative 3. So if I said what's the limit of f of x as x approaches negative 3, well, if I don't specify what direction, that means it should be the same from both sides for right now. In calculus, it'll be a little bit different. But for right now, it should be the same from both sides. Well, as I come from the right side, I'm going to that point. As I come from the left side, I'm going to that point. And what's the y value there? The y value is also negative 3. So that's just looking at limits graphically. The next thing we're going to do is tie together limits with removable discontinuities, infinite discontinuities, and then horizontal and vertical asymptotes.